Welcome to our Future of Insurance podcast with industry influencers. Today, I'm really thrilled to have Chip Bacciocco from Trusted Choice. He's the CEO of Trusted Choice joining me today. And we've gotten to know each other over the last few years. We've been at industry events together, speaking together on some panels. He's attended Majesco's Convergence Conference, and he really truly is a thought leader and an industry influencer on the future of insurance, particularly as it relates to the agent channel that the industry still has a very strong tie to and a very strong commitment to. So Chip, welcome.
Good morning, Denise. It's great to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. So why don't you give a little background on yourself and what you're doing with leading insurers and agents around innovation and the future of insurance at Trusted Choice?
Yeah, sure. Happy to do it. I am proud to have been in this industry now. Oh my gosh, it might be close to 30 years. I started off as a retail producer at a little brokerage firm in Chicago called Rollins Burdick Hunter, which grew up to become a company called Aon. And I've been in the industry. I've been a licensed agent all those years. And I'm really glad that I got into this business. Nobody plans when they're 12 years old to be in the insurance industry, although I'm encouraging my 12-year-old. And it's just been a real blessing to my family and myself. At TrustedChoice.com, we were founded about 7 years ago. In the recognition by both the Big I, which is a founding entity of TrustedChoice.com, and Agency Nation. I'll talk about that in a minute. Because insurance agents and brokers were losing their competitive edge as the internet emerged as such a powerful marketing medium. And so they got together, the Big I got together with some leading IA insurance companies, and they created TrustedChoice.com to help make independent agents more competitive, because virtually now today, every insurance shopping journey begins on Google or some other search engine. But that's where they start, and they start thinking, well, what kind of insurance do I need? How much should I be paying? Am I paying too much? What does it cover? All kinds, thousands and thousands of insurance questions get typed into Google every day. And it's our job to try to give independent agents their fair share of page one. And that's exactly what we have focused on. Just a couple of quick stats on TrustedChoice.com. We now have 39,000 indexed pages in Google, those different content pages that answer all those insurance questions that consumers have. We're tracking about 164,000 keywords and phrases. We have 28,000 results on page one. So if you were to Google bakery insurance or software company insurance or design studio insurance or lumberyard insurance or almost anything else, there's a very good chance you would find TrustedChoice.com on page one. And that's our way of getting independent agents onto page one, because what we want to do is pull the consumer in, let them research, let them understand that the best decision they could make is to engage an independent agent on their behalf, to be their expert, to provide them with choice, and to be their advocate. And doing that for the last 7 years, we saw 500,000 shoppers on TrustedChoice.com last month.
Wow.
I know. And we made 76,000 agency recommendations to those shoppers. So we've come a long way. I'm really proud of what we're doing. But we got a long way to go. There's plenty of journey ahead.
Well, that kind of really fits into the concept you and I have talked a lot about. And I remember the first time we met each other, it was after I was doing a presentation around the next generation of insurance buyers, i.e. the millennials and the Gen Z. And these younger generations really grow up digital. They're used to doing everything online. They're used to buying online. Yet sometimes, insurance can be complicated, particularly if they're running a small business and trying to figure out, what types of products will they need. And so we've really evolved into a multi-channel type of an environment where you may be doing that research online, and you may be doing some comparative quotes, or you might go out and do some online quotes, but you may also want to be talking to an agent or a broker in that process. So that multi-channel perspective means that you've really got to be consistent in the information that an insurer is really providing out to the customer, regardless of the channel that it goes through. How are you helping agents, but also those insurers, help prepare for this shift in that multi-channel world? Because it requires change a little bit on both sides.
It's a great question, Denise, and we will not solve that big challenge in the next 6 months for sure. I think that's job security for me and our company. But it's an exciting one, and you're spot on. Agents that want to grow, and some don't, by the way. There's a small percentage of agents out there. If you're in that percentage, you don't want to change everything about the way you do it. If you're only looking at a 5-year horizon, that's okay. Some agents the owner's going to retire. They've got sort of an exit plan. That's okay. But if you want to be a growing agency or brokerage, 10 years from now, for sure. And if you want to get to that point, you're going to have to meet the customer on the customer's terms. And in the past, we had the luxury probably of being able to set our own terms. A little bit like I was thinking this morning about it. When you go to the doctor's office, we all go to the doctor's office on the doctor's terms. We fill out the same form every time.
Yeah.
We jump through a lot of hoops, but that's not going to be the case for insurance agents. The customer's going to set the terms for virtually all of personal lines and probably all of, say, small commercial, and it could even go higher than that. And both the companies and the agents have this incredible burden to share information rapidly, and you pointed out consistently. So what we're doing on trustedchoice.com, we're kind of starting on the end of the puzzle that we can solve for now, and we don't have to have the whole puzzle planned out. We're working really aggressively on that. How do we get the customer to find an agent? How do we put some transparency into which insurance companies have an appetite to write certain risks? So we sort of provide some market transparency on that to the consumer. We also provide it to the agent about, hey, remember, these are the companies you could place this with. We try to do a lot around timing. You'd be amazed now that we have so much data on how shoppers shop and how we get that information transferred to agents. There's a lot of friction in actually getting the consumer, and if they want to talk to an agent, to get those two both available at the same time and ready to talk on a telephone. It's a lot harder to line up than most people think. So we've been adding a lot of our application deals with that whole, how does a consumer do their research, find the right independent agent for what their insurance needs are, connect to that agent, and then the other part we're bringing in is some transparency and visibility from the insurance company side to see how that process works, which prospects are coming in, which agents won those opportunities, and trying to make part of the pie a little more efficient. And then we'll be growing, I'm sure, more toward the back end as we go. But lots of other players are certainly engaged in that as well. And I'm very optimistic about where it's going.
Yeah. So one of the other aspects of this next generation for not just buyers, but it's a next generation of agents and brokers. And, both of us, having been in the industry for over 30 years, we didn't intend to get into the industry, but once you're there, you rarely leave. Yet it's not viewed as a sexy industry. It's not viewed as the place where, it's got great technology. And this younger generation really wants to be able to leverage and use technology in their work and in their day-to-day lives. So attracting and retaining and incentivizing the best agents is really crucial for insurers for their growth, but even more so for some of these agencies to be able to have their growth. And so what is it that you're seeing on views on how insurers can kind of meet this crucial area? One of the conversations we just had this week in one of our meetings was there's a difference in, particularly for different generations of agents, somebody who's been in the business for 20, 25 years, they got a lot of business on their book, and they've got a lot of recurring renewals that are out there. And they're really focused on maintaining that customer base and those renewals, that really give them something. Yet on a younger generation, they might be more interested in having access to some technology or having access to some leads and doing some things from more of a services orientation and maybe not as much on the actual cash or compensation. So there's kind of a difference in the types of ways that you might have to work with agents to really set up a compensation package, I put it, that may be elements of cash, it may be elements of giving them money to do work with technology or to have access to data and leads. What are you seeing out there, Chip?
That's a great question. And I It's spot on as far as why we created Agency Nation. So Agency Nation is our sort of education and inspiration arm. So TrustedChoice.com is a platform, and I think of it like a big giant fishing net, and we're focused on all that Google SEO. We pull in opportunities and we distribute them to agents. But Agency Nation is where we don't face consumers at all. We face the IA channel as a whole, and we bring insurance companies in the IA channel and the agencies together to talk about exactly these kinds of things. And you mentioned sexy, and this was actually a big topic at the most recent Big I national meeting. There's a brand new chairman named John Jensen, good friend of mine, and he was talking about we have to explain to our kids in the next generation that this is an amazing career opportunity. This is a preferred way to spend your professional life. And of course, they're doing it through programs like Young Agents, which I encourage everybody to check out through the Big I. But Agency Nation was sort of the cousin to that was about how do we really engage the next generation of younger agents on their terms, using language they're more comfortable with, all technology focused. It's been very successful. Again, we had big buy-in by our insurance company partners. We have an annual conference called Elevate, which I think has been gaining some momentum. We call it an unconference. We play crazy music in the hallways. We serve beer in the breakout sessions. We kick beach balls around. It's not like any insurance conference you've ever been to. And as a result, we've had nothing but rave reviews. We've sold out every year. Liberty Safeco is our diamond partner for the next one, which will be in a cool town, Nashville, next June. So I totally agree. And if you look closely, you will see that the companies know this as well. Certainly the associations know this as well. And people are coming together to try to provide these attractive resources and to meet the next generation of agents on their terms, which is far more digital, far more multi-channel, as you mentioned, and hopefully a little bit more fun. So I'm glad about that.
What do you think are some of the kind of innovative things that some of the insurers are doing to attract those? You know, what kind of technology or services are they doing beyond just the cash compensation? What are some examples?
They're and this is really self-serving. They are buying those agents tickets to go to Elevate, and they're saying, you know what, maybe we don't know how quite to pull this off, but our friends at Agency Nation do, and so they send us people to get engaged. That's one, and we love that, and we encourage that. But every company's doing something. And they're all. They're trying their best to find their way. I could mention different companies. I know Hanover, Westfield, State Auto, Encova, Accident Fund. I'm thinking and I know I'm leaving a whole bunch out, that just in the last few months, I have seen them building specific apps for their agents to be more engaged with what they're doing, more informed, more aware of what products they have, able to embed quoting tools onto their agency websites, sending them to trips like this, subsidizing their investment in social media. You know, if they want to, some companies are saying, hey, if you're going to build a great Facebook page, we will subsidize that. If you're going to do some marketing through LinkedIn, we will help subsidize that. So there's a lot of, I'd say there's no one pattern I've seen, but I can't think of a quality IA company that this isn't on their radar. They need to be supporting their agents online, and they're doing their darndest to do it.
Yeah. So, you know, when I think about, there's been this term, even back in my Accord days, which you and I have talked about, is that we've talked about this as an industry. We've got to make it easy to do business with insurers. We got to make it easy for these agents and brokers. It's got to be easy. And today it's pretty complicated sometimes because every insurer has its own portal. Every insurer is kind of doing a different thing to kind of incentivize their agents, et cetera. And, you know, as I think about it, and I think about consistency, and I think about ease of doing business, some ways we've almost made it more difficult to do that. And so when I think about, you know, the next future of insurance for distribution, I think about it on the front end and I think about it on the back end. On the back end, obviously, are the systems to be able to onboard and to license and to pay that commission, but or pay that compensation. But that compensation's got to be able to be more than just the cash. based on, the compensation rates, for selling insurance or the renewal rates. It's got to be all those other things. Can you effectively do that in a holistic way that really engages it and it gives them a dashboard that really kind of shows them where are they? How do they compare to their peers? Not necessarily giving the names out, but kind of incentivizing them in a different way. And then on the front end, making sure that we've got easy access, that allows them to do the quote, to do the servicing with their service staff out in their agents, in their agencies, et cetera. And, I think about this future of insurance, and I think what we've got to do is we've got to rethink our processes, and we've got to rethink how we've always done in engagement with an insurance, because it was really an inside-out perspective instead of an outside-in. And I think that's what InsurTech has really brought to the table, which you and I are both going to InsurTech Connect next week. And that's where some of these InsurTech startups really can offer, and some of these newer technologies can really offer some real interesting capabilities that begin to kind of bring things together. So give me your thoughts on that, Chip.
That's exactly why I'm going to InsurTech Connect. There's other reasons, but one of the most exciting areas for the last maybe 3 years now has been, I'm going to call it a middleware. That's a little bit of an old phrase, but I think it explains to people that aren't super technical about what we're talking about. Every major insurance company, for example, for a while has been spending money on what they usually call their agent portal. And they've made those better and better, no doubt about it. And they do all kinds of things in the sales process and the servicing process and even the claims process and so forth. The problem from an agent's perspective, remember, we're independent agents, and the strength of independent agents is to access multiple companies. So it kind of, the agent's dilemma is, well, I'm in this one, then I got to go over to this other company agent portal and log in there and so forth and so on. So that there's not a holistic way of either marketing something or managing a portfolio of policies and so forth. There's a very interesting, and I know you guys know about this way more than I do, but very interesting group of companies are coming together to start to weave these pieces together. And I'm sure you are too, seeing several of them on the agent. I'm more focused on the agency side than the company side, but there's some great companies out there like Zagent and Deus and SureZone, Bolt Penguin. I'm sure I'm leaving a whole bunch out. That are focused on this. How do we be the integration point between multiple companies and multiple agencies and providing that hub? I know that at Bacciocco, you guys are certainly focused on this as well. How do you make sure the insurance companies can get their data into some kind of integration point that's then multi-spokes from there? We will solve this problem over the next, 2 to 5 years, I think. And then most of this data will be accessible through APIs and in a very interchangeable but secure way. And when we get there, that'll be like, the holy grail and nirvana for all of us. It's a lot of work to get there. But that's where it's headed. It's headed so that an agent should be able to sell and service efficiently for all the companies it represents. And the company, on the other hand, should be able to sell its products and get them serviced and claims and so forth for all of its agents, regardless of which systems they use. That's the vision of where we got to get to. I know you guys see it well. And that's one of the reasons it's fun to go to InsurTech Connect, to see people sort of dream out how that might take place.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really why we came out with Digital First. As you know, you heard all about it at our convergence. And what's really exciting is the Digital First insurance platform really provides that API gateway. And we have all of those APIs that, we've have in a catalog that are published. And now all of these different partners that are integrating into that really provide that dynamic nature of having access to the data or having access to it. In fact, we're working with a very large organization that works with multiple different MGAs and agencies, and they're creating a platform that basically can integrate across all those, create that consistency back with the insurers. So the day is coming really, really rapidly, and I think over the next few months, you'll see a lot more coming out from us, that we can publicly announce that will kind of give a view as to what that future can look like.
That's awesome. I did enjoy being at your conference, and you guys were sharing sort of some of that vision, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. So as you look to the future, where do you see distribution in the next 3 to 5 years, Chip? You know, because we've talked about, oh, the agent channel is going away. Well, it's not going away. It's changing. So where do you see it?
Yeah, it is. It's so true. Every year that I've been in the business, since we put down the whiteout, I remember we used to correct forms with whiteout. That was one of my earliest jobs. Fix this form. It's got the wrong date. Here's a bottle of whiteout. It has changed every year, and it changes faster and faster. It's not going to stop changing. And every year it's been predicted that the independent agent and brokers not needed anymore. And I think every year we absolutely confirm the opposite is true. There'll always be a need. If you're buying something as important as insurance, and it is important to your business, to your family, et cetera, you're always going to want some choice. You're always going to want an expert so you don't screw up. And you're always going to want an advocate on your behalf. And that's what a good independent insurance agent and broker gives to you. So we're not going anywhere. It will continue to evolve. It will become more and more digital. The multi-channel you're already seeing part of it in our rearview mirror. You can certainly see it out the windshield as well. Independent agents, the good news is we don't all have to do the same thing. The strength of the IA model is its diversity. So not every agent has to follow the exact same business model, use the exact same technology, the same tactics. Each agency should think about its own strengths. Where are they competitively advantageous in terms of their the advice they offer, the products they sell, et cetera, and fit that into their digital marketing and digital servicing strategy going forward. We're not going anywhere except forward, but I do expect the future to be extremely digital, extremely integrated, as we just talked about, and a lot of fun.
I do too. I think it's in my career, I think this is the most exciting time in my entire career, and the opportunities are limitless and the possibilities are just amazing. It's just a matter of taking those opportunities and taking those possibilities and doing something and really executing on it. I think that's the piece that we don't have enough insurers and maybe large brokers and agents executing enough on those possibilities and experimenting. And it's not that costly to experiment anymore. You can do that in a really cost-effective way.
Absolutely.
Yep. So bonus question. If you could pick one word or phrase to describe the future of insurance, what would it be and why?
Golden. I say this usually when I end on stage at Elevate. A lot of times I will try to, at the very end, I'll try to remind the audience and say, because I believe it, we live in the golden age of IA innovation. And there's no other time you would rather work in this industry right now. I do look at, I'm a sort of a history buff. I like to look at those old pictures of insurance agents, black and white in cubicles or at Lloyd's or whatever. And it looks like fun in sort of a, old movie way. But this is the golden age. Just like there was a golden age of television and a golden age of Hollywood and all that, this is the golden age of the independent agency channel in terms of innovation and where we're going. The career possibilities as individuals are amazing. The growth potential for all the companies involved, our ability to help customers in ways we've never been able to help before. We all know it's a truly noble profession. It's very gratifying to hear stories about families whose all their property is ruined and who comes to the rescue but an insurance agent and an insurance company. So we work for a noble profession, and we happen to be alive and right in the middle of it during its golden age of innovation. So proud to be here, happy to be here, and that would be my word, golden.
I love that word. I love that word. Well, thanks, Chip, and thanks for all of the leadership that you provide out to the industry and for the bringing all of the different constituents together to really kind of collaborate on what that future of insurance is. And we're really happy to be partners with you and to, share the information and insights that we have and work with you and your constituents, and looking forward to seeing you next week. And thank you so very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Denise, and thank you for all that you and Bacciocco do for independent agents and independent insurance agency companies. We appreciate it. Thank you.